Mike Harris is the editor of Veterans Today and joins us now out of Phoenix. My research suggests that the United States spent $3 to $4 trillion in Afghanistan. What do you have information that differs from that? What do your sources say?
No, I agree with that estimate. In fact, that estimate may be a little bit low about what the U.S. has squandered over there in Afghanistan in a unjustified invasion into that country. First of all, no one believes that Afghanistan had anything to do with 9/11, which was the justification for entering Afghanistan in the first place. So that story, that lie that has been foisted upon the American people of the world is coming to an end. The truth is going to come out about who the real about 9/11, and it was not, and Afghanistan had nothing to do with it. The real motivation for the U.S. being in Afghanistan was to secure the opium market. And I have to point out that when the Taliban was in control before the U.S. invasion, production of opium was merely 74 metric tons annually. And the high it reached was 94,000 metric tons in 2017, right prior to Trump announcing that he was going to withdraw troops out of Afghanistan. So there's other reasons why the U.S. has been there, why the U.S. has been there for so long. It has to do with the CIA, has to do with black money, and it has to do with the drug trafficking and the drug problem.
Right, and in addition to that, Mike, I mean, when you put the former Afghan president says that the Afghans have paid the heavy price, and when you put that into perspective, some $4 trillion, let's say, according to most monitoring groups, Afghan lives, they're facing increasing poverty, unemployment, terrorism is on the rise, violence is on the rise, and you can also put a very justifiable argument that that money that could have been used for Americans who are living in poverty.
Absolutely, like Donald Trump had it right. You know, we have wasted over $8 trillion in Iraq and Afghanistan, wars that have done nothing to improve the quality of life or to improve the national security of people in the United States. This was completely misguided. This was one of the worst foreign policy blunders ever. And the blame falls squarely on the shoulders of George W. Bush and Dick Cheney, these guys who involved us in these quagmires here and invaded countries that had nothing to do with 9/11, which was the whole justification for the war on terror. All this thing did was made a lot of profits for a lot of military defense contractors, cost a lot of American lives, a lot of Afghan lives, a lot of Iraqi lives, and it made some tremendous drug profits so that the CIA can continue their black operations globally. I am glad to see the Karzai regime coming to an end. I would like to see the Afghan people set up their own form of government. I'm not a fan of the Taliban. I don't, I think they're a little bit too strict on how they administer the Sharia law. I would like to see a more secular regime, but that's up to the Afghan people to decide. That's not an American decision. So we need to allow the people who live there to set up their own system of governance and to conduct their own affairs, as right. Every sovereign people in every sovereign nation should be allowed to do.
Right. Finally, Mike, do you expect any type of accountability for what's happened to Afghanistan? 2 decades of mayhem over there. Any?
Well, several times already, Afghanistan had nothing to do with 9/11, nothing. They were completely innocent. The U.S. went in there under a pretext, a set of lies. The American people have paid a tremendous price for it domestically here. We've spent, as you said, trillions of dollars overseas investing in wars that we should have invested in our own country, in our own growth internally here, and not be out wreaking havoc and mayhem in other countries and killing innocent people who never did anything wrong to us, never harmed us in any way. And once our soldiers, the Karzai is complaining about a rise in terrorism. Well, one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. And so let's keep that in respect. And if as a U.S. citizen, if I had invading troops coming into my country, they would be calling me a terrorist because I would be opposing them. So I don't blame the Afghan people for wanting to liberate their country of the occupiers. And I'm in touch with several of the Pashtun tribal leaders. I speak with them on an intermittent basis, and they've asked for U.S. help, both technologically as well as financially, to develop other assets there, like mining rare earths. And so far, it's fallen on deaf ears in the U.S. So I would like to see Afghanistan get on a stable, growth-oriented footing, rebuilt, where the U.S. will help with the rebuilding, because the U.S. is directly responsible for the destruction of Afghanistan. And I think that perhaps we could salvage a relationship here with the people of Afghanistan,
Right.
after treating them so unfairly for so long.
Okay,
And
Mike.
like I said, I blame this strictly on George H.W. Bush, the neocons, and Dick Cheney. This is their war. This is their fault. The American people never, ever wanted this. Not ever.
Mike, appreciate you being with us. Mike Harris, the editor at Veterans Today, joining us live out of Phoenix.